Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne, and welcome to my little corner of South Carolina. So if you've been following me, we are in March, and today for lunch, the video will be up tomorrow, but started out making chicken and rice, then it went to creamy chicken and rice with vegetables, and then I ended up with a delicious chicken broccoli cheddar soup. So we're going to have that for lunch or dinner, probably dinner tomorrow because we've got so much of it. But tonight, the pieces of cube steak that were left that I did not cook for dinner last night, I've already got my vegetables chopped up and ready to go. I'm going to pound that cube steak out really, really thin and sear it up. I'm going to try to make us some steak sandwiches for dinner. First thing I need are buns. So I need to grab my apron and get it put on and get set up to be able to get my buns started. So grab whatever you'd like to. Grab you a glass of water and come back, and I'll be back in just a moment. Alright guys, so I have an apron on, thankfully. Now, what I'm going to do tonight, what I'm going to start right now is the bread for my steak sandwich. I want to attempt to make some type of roll. The only bread that I've really been successful with so far are my biscuits, my sandwich bread, and the dinner rolls from Becky over at Acre Homestead. I know I can take that dinner roll recipe and make a hamburger bun. I'm going to attempt to make them into a longer bun to be able to put my steak sandwich in. Just because I want to be able to have this with, I think that this dinner roll recipe, also if I made a bigger one, I can carve it out tomorrow perfect to be able to put our soup in. So that's what I want to do, and I'm getting very tired because I've cooked 2 meals today. And for me that is a little bit more. Usually 2 is what I do. But today my goal is 3. Because I want to finish up a bunch of these little odds and ends of things that we've had, so then we can have the next few days to eat off of them. So what you're going to see over the next few days are the recipes that I've done in this one day, just strictly because I am doing full meals. And I want to show you guys how to take those certain things and repurpose them. So the chicken that I finished for lunch, Mom helped me pick the rest of it off the bones. Started like we ended up on Thursday with 2 rotisserie chickens. So since then we've eaten off of them, meaning we've literally, as soon as they were brought in, my husband and my mother, I kind of laughed and gave them a hard time and told them they tore into that like we were sitting at a medieval times dinner table. Because the wings are Mom's favorite, the legs come off, so they pretty much disassembled this poor chicken. And that was the first one. So what I did was I wanted sandwiches and things, was I was cutting off the breast meat and things to make my sandwiches on the buns that I had made for our hamburgers, because I had some left over. So we've been eating off of them for a couple of days, and then yesterday I made chicken salad. So that pretty much took care of one of them, but Mom did pick off the meat of the rest of them because we've been working between the 2. So chicken salad, then we've been eating them, and then today what I did was I took the rest of it and turned it in with that soup. So today is the rest of the cube steak and vegetables. Right now is my bread. So in my mixing bowl for my stand, I've got my dough hook right here. I'm going to take it says 3.5 to 4 cups of flour. Now what I do is I start with 3.5, Simply because I know that, as she says, once you get to working with it, it may be a little too sticky. She has been teaching me a few things also about when things feel too sticky, sometimes they don't need more flour. Because a lot of your things, once you start adding way too much flour to it, that's when you end up getting into your density and they end up being too dense and too heavy. And I don't want that. So I've been working more with less flour and just putting the water on my hands like she's been doing. And it really has made a difference in my bread making, along as with my sandwich bread too. Because when I go to make sandwich bread, and I need to do that tomorrow, so that may be one thing that you guys see this week, is because it does take a lot of flour. So that was 3 cups, and then I have my half cup over here. So I'm going to do 3.5 cups. Now, as you see me, I am 50 years old. I am not ashamed to tell you guys how old I am. But I've also been raised in a family where cooking and baking were taken very seriously. And then I took home ec in school. My home ec teacher still rings true and rings in my head. There's still things that I do that I hear her. And her first thing was, do not scoop your flour. Now, the one thing I have found, as you saw me, I fluffed it up. I have gotten to where I will fluff up my flour and then go in and lightly scoop it. But I still hear her in my head, so I can't do that. So I do scoop, put in, because it's not so, because if you scoop, it can pack down, make your weight. That's why a lot of people weigh versus measure. I don't. I still go by old school. I use my spurtle, use my measuring cup. I'll either use a spoon or I'll use a knife. One or the other. That's what I do. So, I've got this in here, but the first thing I forgot to do was melt and warm up my milk. So I have my milk and my butter in a bowl. This needs to be around 110. I prefer it to be 110. This does say with the water. So here's my water. Here is my milk and my butter. I'm going to put this in the microwave on 15-second increments till I get it up to temperature. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I have my milk and my water ready to go. So to this, I'm actually going to mix in honey. So what I've done is there's a cup of milk, a half a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of honey in here. This is a 2 tablespoons. It's actually a coffee thing that come with my old coffee maker. But I do use tablespoons in a lot of things. So I like to be able to use this for my measuring. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of active dry yeast. I have some. I just took it out of my freezer. So I'm going to drop that in here. And then I'm going to let everything get all yummy and bubbly in here. So I there's half a cup of water, a cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of butter. It's almost melted. It'll be melted by the time I'm done. 2 tablespoons of honey and a tablespoon of active dry yeast, which I have got to buy some more. And then I'm going to just mix this around and let it sit here while we get everything else ready. But I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the freezer because I'm not going to need this anymore right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get this back in here. And I do keep it handy just in case something happens and I don't foam or bubble up like I should. But I always keep it handy just in case I have to redo this step. That yeast is actually fairly new It has done very well in all of the bread baking that I've done recently. So we are going to let that sit. Now, I have my flour, all-purpose flour. This is actually what I had left of my azure flour. So I'm almost done with this. I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm gonna go to that. I'm looking for a good rye bread recipe. If anybody has a good one, I tried to do the loaf. I don't know what I did wrong. It was hard, it was dense, it was light. I mean, even though inside it was okay, it just did not turn out right. I still have some rye flour. I would love to make a loaf, like a bread loaf. So if anybody has a great recipe, I found a Martha Stewart recipe I think I'm going to try next. So here is my flour, and I'm going to get my salt. I keep all of that under here so it's at my fingertips. So the salt, I need a teaspoon of salt. Okay. No, that wasn't a little bit over. My teaspoon was actually a little under. So I just made up for that. And then you need an egg. Egg wash your buns. We're gonna egg wash our buns, y'all. So these are the eggs that I got from my cousin. We have a bunch of rainbow eggs, which are beautiful. Very delicious eggs. I'll show you when I open them up. Some of these eggs that we've looked at, you know, you can tell there are some younger girls in there. So some of them are very pointy, and you go, oh, that might hurt. So, flour, salt. I'm going to push this in together, and then I'm going to have you come with me to the mixer. Alright guys, sorry about that. Mixer. Oldie but goodie. My mother-in-law gave this to me years ago, and it has come in handy. I have the dough hook, I have the whisk attachment, and then it did not come with a beater, so I went and my mom bought me the beater with the scraper. Love this thing. Alright, as you see, we are nice and bubbly here. So this is what we're going to do. Put my mixer, turned it on low. Now, this is what I have found out with this. Everything is ready to go. We have got our main components here. Let's see here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to add our liquid to this. This whole mixture is going to dump in here. Now, I've got a little bit of goodie left in my mixing cup here. So I'm going to get that out, put that out, get that out of our way. And then we're just going to start this. And I'm going to turn it up a little bit because I want to get it started. Because here in a moment, I am going to have to scrape this thing. Alright. So I'm just going to scrape this down in here. Oh, you can smell it. It's so yeasty. Good and yeasty. Then what I do is I pull up and come and scrape off. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, I'm not a professional baker. This is just stuff that I've learned how to do at home. And it works for me. So however you would do this part, I cannot do this part by hand anymore. My hands will not allow me to knead dough. The one thing that I do actually need, so I'm trying to save my hands today, is my bread, my sandwich bread. I need it by hand because it takes about 5 to 8 cups. I think it's 8 cups of flour that I start with because I do make 5 loaves of bread at one time. Last month I didn't because I wasn't going to use that much, but since my cousin's having her procedure done, I'm going to go ahead and make some tomorrow and send a loaf to their house. Now this has to mix for about 4 to 5 minutes. Now, what I did was I went and got a little more flour, strictly because I can tell my dough is a little wet because it's not wanting to pull apart, pull away from the sides. I know that this still has to go for a few more minutes, but right now I can tell it's starting to stick together. So I just started a timer for 4 minutes. And I probably ended up using another tablespoon, probably a tablespoon and a half of flour. I don't think I used any more than that. So I'll meet you back here in just a couple minutes. Guys, so now as you see I have stopped it. I'm about 2 minutes in. I want to check the stickiness. It's still just a touch sticky, so I'm going to add about a half of a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon of flour in there, and then we're just going to finish kneading this for the rest of the time. So I'll see you back when our time is over. So that has now been 4 full minutes, and I do want you to notice that it has completely pulled away from my bowl. So we're going to take this and go over to the table. Oh, y'all, my hands don't work sometimes. All right, everybody. So now that that part is done, I'm going to come over here with my bowl, and I have another bowl right here, and we need to put a little bit of oil in it. Do that. I normally have everything set up, but like I said, today has just not been one of my better days. But what I'm going to do now is I've got a very small silicone mat here that for my first thing, I'm just going to use my small mat. And what we are going to do is turn this dough out on here. Take my ring off. I'm going to pull my dough out, and then it says to roll it. So I don't want a lot of flour in there, but I need to get this out of my bowl. So I'm going to pull my dough out. There we go, y'all. And then we're just going to roll it into a ball. And then I have a bowl here that you just saw me with my oil. And I'm just going to roll it around in here. And here we go. I'm going to set it over here on top of my stove, on top of my oven. Because what I actually do is our house either stays really chilly or really warm. And today I cannot tell if it's either or. So this has to sit for 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes. She says place it in a corner. I don't have a corner to get to. So I turn my oven light on and put it in my oven. Now, while that's rising, here in a moment we're going to have to pull that out and get those shaped. So I'm going to get out my bigger baking mat. So give me just a few moments to get everything set up. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to be honest with you. My timer came and went, but I was tied up doing something else. So instead of 15 minutes, it's been more like 25, which is fine. Let's look at my dough. Look, it rose beautifully. So what I'm going to do now is punch this out. Punch this down. See if I can get you down here. Hold on one moment. All right, I know you're at a weird angle right now, but I want you to be able to see my mat. So as you see, there's very little flour on here. I mainly did it just to flour my mat, not so much my dough. So you're just going to roll this out. I say that. Get your hand in there and roll that sucker out. It should fall out. It does if I put it in a glass bowl. All right, so what I'm going to do now is this, as you punch this down and divide this into 12. That's not what I want to do. That's when you do your dinner rolls. What I want to do with this is I am going to cut this in half. I got my things here somewhere. Here they are, covered up. All right, so I'm going to cut this in half because I need half for tonight, half for tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and do all of these, but now I want to divide this into 4s. And I'm going to be honest with you, Becky, if she's watching or if she ever saw me do this, she'd probably freak out because she's got her handy dandy little scale. I do too. I'm going to be honest with you though. It's just difficult for me to do that. So these are not in full things, but it's fine because I'm making 4, but there's only 3 of us here this weekend. I mean, our son's already gone to his dad's. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to pull these down and make these smaller ones into my bowls. 3, 4. Yeah, I want my bigger ones for my buns for tonight. So here's one, because I'll be honest with you, we don't eat a lot of bread. So what I have is I do have my dish here for these particular rolls. Now I want to flatten these, but not so much because I don't want them to be bun size. I just want them to be a roll. Now she has her beautiful way that she goes in and she folds these and she pinches them. And I can do that too. I just struggle sometimes with my fingers. So however you can do it, do it. That's what I say. Now, if you feel like you need something, I've got a little thing of water off to the side. If it feels like it wants to stick to my fingers, I just water my fingers instead of flour. Now, these are going to be smaller. So, if they're not big enough to do a bread bowl with tomorrow, that's perfectly fine. We'll have rolls on the side. Because this is the way I do things. Alright. I'm going to shape this one a little bit better. Alright, so those are ready. My oddly shaping buns there. Now, I want these to be more like a hoagie roll. So I'm going to try to roll these out a little bit more. And then just pinch them down as I do with my bread. Then, just really want to pinch them off. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. Because, you know, honestly, we don't eat a lot of bread. I know that I make these things a lot, but we just don't. I'm just trying to use what I have in my refrigerator. And I decided to try my hand at a steak sandwich. What started this was our youngest one, our baby, started this the other day. He was talking about Philly cheesesteaks. I am not making a cheesesteak. Number one, I don't know how. And number two, I don't have the stuff. So, let's roll out these last two that I have. And you want to try to get these looking as even as possible, but you know, just do the best you can. That's what I say. As long as you try your hardest. Do your best. That's what my son's teachers used to say in school. As long as you do your best. That's what we do. So, I think what I'm going to do, because I got 3 really good rolls out of this. I think I'm going to take that 4th one that kind of looks weird and make it into a, see if I can get a little bit better out of it, because I think I can. Yeah, I'm re-rolling it, of course. Now, then these need to sit about 30 to 45 minutes. I'll be honest with you, with the way that my time is going today, it's probably going to be closer to an hour. So, I'm going to cover these back up. Show you what I'm going to do. Hold on. So, what I'm going to do is take my towel. As you see, my oven light is on. It's not hot at all. This just kind of turns it into a proofer for me. I saw this on another channel, and I tried it one time with my bread. Actually, it wasn't even a channel. I was having trouble with my bread rising because of the way our house is in the wintertime. So I looked up what to do, and somebody had suggested to put it in your cold oven, turn your oven light on, and use it as a proofer. I have been doing it since. It has worked for me. So I'm going to let this rise for about an hour. I'm going to go take a load off. See you back in an hour. I'll show you what they look like. Okay, guys, so it's been about an hour. And I went ahead and I wanted to show you what I started. Because I did go ahead and get a few things started off camera. Yesterday, when I was making our cube steak, and I knew I wanted to do our gravy, which y'all saw me in the other video put in the rest of the mushroom onion gravy into our soup. So I had fresh mushrooms left from the pantry. They were beautiful. There was not one mushroom that was bad. So we've been able to utilize all of those. And we got 2 peppers, a yellow one and an orange one. And then we got, my friend brought some onions. So we had all that left over from our dinner last night. Not the peppers, because I didn't put peppers in dinner. But I had the onions and the peppers. Onions and the mushrooms. And that's where this whole idea formed. Because I had 3 pieces of cube steak that I had went ahead and threw in my freezer. So I took those out last night when I knew I had this, and I put the rest of the mushrooms in, and I put the peppers in here. So I have my peppers, onions, and mushrooms in my big pan on a lower temperature, and then I have butter, and I have a little bit of olive oil in there. So I'm not trying to actually saute them. I'm really trying to do more of a caramelization on those onions, and I think it would taste really good on those peppers and the I know it will on the mushrooms, because that's what I did last night for our gravy. So it has been about an hour that I have left these rolls in the refrigerator. You know, I'm telling you, words are very difficult now, so I'm really tired. In the oven, where I had put those in the oven. The oven is still not on. It is still strictly warm just from the light being on. Now I'm going to pull these out. Now, these are my hoagie rolls. Look. Woo! Look at my rolls, y'all. Look at my hoagie rolls. These have already started sticking together. I'm just going to brush these down with egg wash in a moment and put them in the oven. I will pull them apart when I take them out after they have fully baked. And then here are my rolls that I didn't think were going to be anything. So I will be able to carve these out for us tomorrow to have our soup in them. So I think I've got plenty big enough rolls in there to where I can use those. So while that is still cooking down, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move you guys over here so you can see what I'm doing. I went ahead and got me a container, got my brush, and an egg. So we're going to throw us together an egg wash. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so I have my bowl, my egg, and this is one of the eggs that I've purchased from the local farm. Beautiful eggs. I have me a bowl back there that has my eggs and things in it so that I can take those out to my garden the next time I go out there to work on my soil. I know it's either going to be this week or next week, but I'll go get the rest of my dirt. But I've got one bed that's mostly finished, so I've been feeding my soil. So I'm ready to get my other ones over here, get the rest of my soil so that I can cultivate those as well. All right, so I'm going to set my oven on 400 and let that come up to temperature to 400. Now, she says, let me tell you what I wrote down, that they bake anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. I have found out that, like with her, with some of the recipes that I'm finding from these other YouTubers and homesteaders, our oven must cook a little hotter than everybody else's because ours doesn't take quite as long to cook. I did it the first time and they were great, do not get me wrong, but I did have a little bit of a hard brown bottom, and I know it's not supposed to look like that. So I went ahead and set my I will set mine and check them after 15 minutes. Now these hoagie rolls will probably have to go longer. It says 15 to 20 minutes, so I'll check them in 15, honestly. And then what I like to do with these also is to put some salt on the top. Some sea salt or kosher salt or pink salt or whatever kind of salt you want to put on there. Alright, so let's let our oven get preheated. Alright, so I have a piece of parchment paper here. And then I have my 3 pieces of cube steak here. And they're still pretty thick. I want those thin. So I'm going to put them. Normally I do one at a time, but y'all, I'm telling you, I'm running out of energy today. So we're going to pound the 3 of these out. So I've taken these 3 pieces and I've pounded them down as thin as I can just before they started tearing apart or getting so thin I can't do anything with them. Take this as thin as you want to or as thick as you want to. I just prefer them thinner. So what I'm now going to do is cut this in strips because my vegetables back here are almost done. And then I need to throw my bread in the oven as soon as it preheats. But before I throw this in with the vegetables, I need to put a little seasoning on it. And yes, I do season my food. Alright. Let's pull these apart. I want to get these cut before I wash my hands and throw the rolls in the oven. So I want to get this part done first. Yes, I do have a sharper knife. I think it's over in the sink. But I got this so tender it's coming apart, so it's fine. And those 3 pieces of steak will be plenty for the 3 of us. So, what I'm going to do is get my hands good and clean over here. And these need to be washed anyway, so I'm going to now use those as a hand towel. And bring you over here. Alright guys, sorry. I know I can. There we go. So, slide these in. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be able to get that all. There we go. Hey Google, set timer 15 minutes.
Alright, 15 minutes. Starting now.
Sorry guys, I keep forgetting. At least I'm not saying the A word, so maybe it's just the other one's not throwing you off too bad. Okay. Now, I've got this here. I'm going to take just a little bit of Worcestershire on here. Not much, just a little. I don't have my toppy because y'all had to buy cheap Worcestershire this time, so. There we go. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, bring y'all over here. Hold on a minute. Alright guys, so I'm to the point to where I have got this cooking away back here. It is actually done. I'm just trying to cook some more of this liquid out and get it more of that flavor that we like. Now, if they decide they do want some actual cheese on it, I do have some of that cheddar in there. No, I don't have anything else, so that's what we'll get. Hey Google, how much time is left on timer?
T-minus 44 seconds.
Alright, so we've got 44 seconds left. I'm going to pull these rolls out because I believe they are done, but I'm not really sure. So, the one thing that she has taught me is we can temp bread. So those aren't quite done. They need just a few more minutes. So let's let this cook just a few more minutes. So I just opened the refrigerator to look at my cheese situation. And I found Parmesan. And then I had laid this aside to go on top of our sandwiches. So I've got those. I'm going to grab some mustard and mayonnaise and all that fun stuff. I had all these great plans of things to do tonight. I was going to make French fries, or I was going to make home fries, or yeah. When it comes to the third meal of the day, this is my first time doing 3 like this in a while. I'm too tired to do that. So there will be no fries. If they weren't fried, there's chips over there. But honestly, with us having bread as well, I seriously doubt anybody's going to want anything to go with this. And that is one thing, I'm like somebody else. We really need somebody to invent smell-o-vision here, because this smells amazing. Now, what I'm going to do here in a moment is partition these off and spread them out into servings, and then put the cheese on the top. Actually, let's do that now. There's enough for 4 sandwiches. There we go. We just don't eat a lot of meat sometimes. Some do, some don't. Good. Pull that off the heat. Gonna take a little cheddar. Put just a little bit over all of them. Because I am letting my rolls cook just a few more minutes. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the Parmesan on top. And then I'm just going to pop the lid back on it and let it sit until our bread's done and our bread has rested. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think I've ever had a real cheesesteak. Because that's just not kind of anything I've had. So I don't think I've ever had a real one. I like the steak and cheese with all the peppers and stuff from Publix, but that's probably about as close as I've gotten. Alright, so I just wanted to show you. These rolls are done. Look at how beautiful they are. So, I'm not really sure what I did. They didn't poof up as much. They did poof up. They did rise a good bit. But when I put my egg wash on them, some of them deflated. See? 2 on the end there. But I know that this is a dinner roll recipe. It's not meant to be a sub roll recipe. So I was kind of just experimenting to see how it would turn out. But I still think that they are going to be delicious. Oh yeah, they're done. Alright, so let's cut this off. There's rice left from lunch. Let's set this down. And then we're going to let these cool off for a few. Okay, everybody. So, bring you guys closer to me while we put our sandwiches together so that you can see what I'm doing. I'll put one together for you really quick. Just a little side note, if you guys have ever, if you're older like I am and you've had paper plate holders, Dollar Tree had those when when the youngest one and I went to the dollar store the other day. So we're gonna go with the expensive china tonight because I've already messed up enough dishes. So a little less irritation there. So I'm gonna grab one of these. And I'm gonna cut it and open it up. And I'm going to show y'all. Look at that. Look. Oh, so good. And here are my little piles of steak and cheese. Look. We're just gonna, oh, let's turn that around the right way. People at the name brand sandwich shops would not be happy if I didn't have that around the right way. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is a lot. So Mom and I will probably share one of these. But just so that you can see it. Look. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have already been munching on this. So good. Absolutely delicious. I'm going to take this to Mom. So we have my version of a cheese steak. My way. So tomorrow it's going to be bread if I have the energy. And we'll see what else we have to get into. Because after all, like I said, what else have we got to do? Have a fantastic day.